We are hosting this meeting in person and by video and telephone using Microsoft Teams. We have a majority of the commissioners in person for this meeting as required by law. Some of our commissioners are participating in the hearing remotely and will remain on camera unless they have technical problems. If a commissioner appearing by video is experiencing connectivity issues and needs to turn off their camera, the chairperson will announce this at the most earliest opportune time. For those participating by video, if you experience connectivity issues during the meeting, we have found that turning off your camera may help you see and hear those who are speaking and help us to hear you when you are speaking. If you wish to speak today, we ask that you please fill out a speaker card on the board's website under the tab Board Meetings and the link called Meeting Agendas. We also provide an opportunity for those who have not submitted a speaker card to make a comment. You can find additional documents with helpful instructions and tips for participating in today's meeting on the board's website. Just go to the tab at the top called Board Meetings and select the link for meeting agendas. There is also a helpline available during the meeting if you are experiencing difficulties. Please call 916-445-4072. The phone number is also on the first page of today's agenda and the agenda page on the board's website. If no one immediately answers your call, please leave a message. Someone will return your call as quickly as possible. Most commissioners and board staff use computers to take notes during the meeting, so please do not be concerned if the commissioner is looking at their computer while someone is speaking. We ask that you please mute your computer, microphone, or phone. If you do not mute yourself, a moderator will mute you to eliminate feedback and any background noise. Your comments are important to us, and we want to hear from everyone. For this reason, comments may only be made after the moderator calls a speaker's name or identifies them by their login credentials. We will call cases in the order they are listed on the agenda. Once a speaker is called upon, they will be able to unmute their microphone and make a comment. Please be respectful and refrain from engaging in disruptive behavior, or you may be removed from the meeting. Please note that some speakers may include explicit crime details in their statements during the meeting. This could trigger strong reactions or be difficult to hear for some people and is not appropriate for children. Written statements may be submitted to the email address on the agenda, and written statements are considered the same as oral comments. Today, we will first take care of some administrative matters. We will then hear general public comments regarding the board. Then we will take comments on individual cases in order the cases appear on the agenda. All comments are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. We ask that you please be respectful of the time limits. Also, if you timely submitted a written statement to the board, the commissioners will consider it. For this reason, you are encouraged to reference your written statement and use your time today to provide additional information as needed. Once the board has heard comments on each case on the agenda, the board will go into closed session to deliberate and vote on each case. Board staff will post the decisions for today's case within 24 hours in the lobby on the ground floor of the board's office at 1515 K Street, Sacramento, and on the board's website. I will now turn the meeting over to Commissioner Purcell.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today's date is May 20th, 2025. The Board of Parole Hearings Executive Board meeting is now in session. I'll now call the roll. I'm acting as chairperson today. Commissioner Purcell, I'm present. Commissioner Barton?
Present.
Commissioner Cassidy?
Present.
Commissioner Chappelle? Present. Commissioner Dobbs?
Present.
Commissioner Garland is not present at the moment, will arrive shortly. I'll announce when she arrives. Commissioner Infante?
Present.
Present. Commissioner Long?
Present.
Commissioner Maniz? Present. Commissioner Wache?
Present.
Commissioner O'Meara? Commissioner Ruff?
Present.
Commissioner Schneider?
Present.
Sharif? I see him present on the screen. Can you hear us, Commissioner Sharif?
I'm sorry, you didn't hear me? Yes, I am present. I can hear you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schneider. Now to Commissioner Sharif. Can you hear us?
Present.
Commissioner Sheffield?
Present.
Commissioner Thornton?
Present.
Commissioner Weiss?
I'm here.
And Commissioner Minor is present.
Thank you. I'm sorry I skipped over that name. Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Please note for the minutes that a majority of the commissioners currently appointed are present in person at 1515 K Street in Sacramento. We will now turn to the consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are routine matters that require board approval. Does any board member have any comments or clarifications regarding the April 2025 meeting minutes? Hearing no comments, I will move on. The May backlog report is posted online on the board's website at the end of the consent calendar. Does any board member have any comments or clarifications regarding the backlog report? Hearing no comments or clarifications, I'll move on. At this time, any member of the public may comment on the consent calendar, including the April minutes and the May backlog report. Comments are limited to 2 minutes. Please wait until we call your name or identify you by login information to speak. Moderator, are there any comments on the consent calendar?
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to make a comment on the consent calendar and are on video, please raise your hand in Microsoft Teams. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. To make a comment on the consent calendar by telephone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. We have a hand raised, Angel Ordaz. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Hello, my name is Angel Ordaz. I'm a social worker with lived experience in the justice system and mentoring justice-impacted adults and youth. I'm here in support of Cordius Hall.
We are not taking comments on cases at this time. This is for the consent calendar, this portion. You'll get your chance to speak later on. Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to make a comment on the consent calendar? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers on the consent calendar.
Thank you. Commissioners, is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar?
Please motion.
Motion by Commissioner Muniz.
Chappelle, second.
Commissioner Chappelle has seconded. I'll now call roll for that vote. Commissioner Barton.
Aye.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Aye.
Commissioner Chappelle.
Aye.
Commissioner Dobbs.
Aye.
Commissioner Infante.
Aye.
Commissioner Kozel.
Aye.
Commissioner Long.
Aye.
Commissioner Minor.
Aye.
Commissioner Muniz.
Aye.
Commissioner Wajay.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Meara.
Aye.
Commissioner Ruff.
Aye.
Commissioner Schneider.
Aye.
Commissioner Sharif.
Aye.
Commissioner Sheffield.
Aye.
Commissioner Thornton.
Aye.
Commissioner Weiss.
Yes.
Chairperson Commissioner Purcell votes aye. The motion carries. We will now hear a report from the Chief Deputy of Program Operations, Tara Doach, on behalf of Executive Officer Scott Wyckoff.
Hello again. On Friday, May 9th, Executive Officer Wyckoff attended an event at California State Prison, Los Angeles County, put on by Uncommon Law. The event featured 10 incarcerated persons who shared their experience as graduates of or participating in Uncommon Law's Home After Healing program. All the men were on a level 4 yard. Interestingly, 2 of the men he met were serving sentences of life without the possibility of parole. He asked them what motivated them to participate in a program that prepared them for parole, even though they did not have a parole date. They explained they wanted to be better people, and that even though there was a possibility they would not get to go home, they could show loved ones on the outside that change is possible. He also had the opportunity to speak to 2 assembly members. Both of them expressed interest in observing hearings. We are working with their staff on those details.
Thank you. We will now hear a report from Chief Deputy of the Investigations and Reentry Screening Division, Ryan Yautze.
Good morning. as part of the board's ongoing outreach, I just had an outreach update. Our PA3 Martin Figueroa has formed an ongoing partnership with the University of San Francisco's Sociology Department, and where he regularly meets with students and faculty to share information about the board and parole processes and community supervision. This past semester, Agent Figueroa coordinated with UCSF to provide opportunities to 3 outstanding students who successfully completed internships with the board as part of their sociology capstone projects. Tatiana Oquendo, Brittany Hernandez, and Axel Perez each brought a unique perspective and set of skills to their internship, and they contributed meaningfully to discussions with various staff at the board while gaining firsthand experience with board projects in all the areas within the board. They were able to attend hearings, unit meetings, and even ride-alongs with DAPO in a thorough introduction of the parole process and community supervision. Their internships culminated on May 8th with their capstone presentations, which involved developing an ongoing research question while applying a theoretical framework using methodologies learned from their internship. And they presented that analysis to their UCSF class and Agent Aspen Marshall, who attended the event. It was a great event, and we'd like to extend our sincere appreciation to Aspen Marshall, who was actually supervised the students throughout their internship while they were at the board this semester. Her guidance, encouragement, and insight were instrumental to their success. We also would like to thank all the board staff who took time to meet with and share experiences and knowledge with the students. And a special thanks to Commissioner Barton, Commissioner Cassidy, and Chief Justice Jessica Blondin, who all were able to take time out of their busy schedules to meet with and share considerable knowledge of the board and our functions with the interns. And to our 3 interns, congratulations on your successful completion of your presentations and your degrees. They're all graduating with Bachelor of Arts degrees this semester. We're proud of your accomplishments, and we look forward to seeing the impact you'll make in your future endeavors. So that's the only update from IRSD, and if there's any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. We will now hear a report from Chief Psychologist Dr. Jasmine Tarani.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'd like to update you on some recent training that we had, and I also have a staffing update. Excuse me. Earlier this month, our FAD evaluators and supervising senior psychologists attended the Department of State Hospital Sexually Violent Predators Unit's annual conference via video. And we were also earning continuing education credits, which we need for our licenses. As you know, the DSH puts on outstanding training year after year, and I found that this year was no exception. Highlights included Dr. Randy Otto's presentation on ethics in forensic psychology, and Dr. Shannon Kelly's presentation on assessing protective factors in persons who have committed sexual offenses. I'd like to thank DSH's Deputy Director, Dr. Melinda DeCero, for including my staff in their training. As you know, roughly 1/3 or more of those individuals whom we evaluate have a history of sexual offending. This is an area in which we always welcome additional training whenever possible. And frankly, it's consistent with my philosophy that as forensic psychologists, we should approach our work with a sense of humility and have a growth mindset. I'm also pleased to announce that we have a staffing update for the FAD. Earlier this month, Dr. Toni Cadell joined the FAD. Dr. Cadell received her doctorate in clinical psychology with a concentration in forensic psychology from Azusa Pacific University. During her graduate training, Dr. Cadell completed a clinical practicum placement conducting sex offender treatment at Sharper Future and an assessment practicum at Patton State Hospital. She then went on to complete a pre-doctoral internship at a state hospital in Maryland, and then she returned to Patton in 2020 to complete her postdoctoral fellowship in forensic psychology. After her postdoc, she then joined Patton's staff as a treating psychologist until she transitioned to DAPO as a clinical psychologist, completing static 99 Rs for persons pending release. And in that capacity, she also supervised unlicensed psychologists. She has taught at her alma mater, Azusa Pacific University. And I could go on, but the last thing that I'll mention for you is that Dr. Cadell co-authored an article on cultural mistrust considerations when utilizing the MMPI. And this was published in one of our leading academic journals, the Journal of Law and Human Behavior, about 2 years ago. I think we can all agree that Dr. Cadell is a great addition to the board and to the FAD, and we're lucky and fortunate to have her. Do you have any questions? Okay, with that, I thank you for your time and I turn it back over to Chairman Purcell.
Thank you, Dr. Tarani. We'll now hear a report from the Assistant Chief of the Office of Victim and Survivor Rights and Services, Mike Young.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Young, Assistant Chief Victim Services. Just one quick, very brief update for you this morning, actually regarding restitution, which I don't get to talk to you guys about very much. But historically, when an incarcerated person has been released from the institution, we 90 days after the release, we refer any remaining victim restitution owed to the Franchise Tax Board. We have taken some steps to revamp that process to allow a little bit more time for notification to the incarcerated person, a little bit more time to get settled post-release. And so as we revamp that process and those and our system as well, we put a temporary hold on referring those debts over to the Franchise Tax Board for a couple of months here to get all of that set up. So hopefully probably another 2 months or so, and we'll be have a new process in place. So that's the only update I have today.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Does any board member wish to request an agenda item for a future meeting? Hearing no requests, we'll move on. Now we will hear comments from the public regarding general matters related to the board. We are not taking comments on cases right now. Comments concerning future parole hearings are not permitted during this meeting. Please send those comments to the board for inclusion in the materials for that hearing. Comments are limited to 2 minutes and there's no opportunity for rebuttal. Please wait to speak until we call your name or identify you by your login number. Moderator, is there anyone seeking to make a general comment related to the board?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, we have a couple of speaker cards. I believe they're both in person. Keith Watley, Uncommon Law.
Not in person this time.
Oh, okay. Sorry, sir. Go ahead.
That's all right. Thank you. Keith Watley from Uncommon Law. I'm very concerned that the board is violating the rights of parole candidates by rescinding previously granted parole dates without allowing candidates to testify as to whether there's good cause to rescind. The board's rescission hearing procedures have changed several times over the years and not always in accordance with the controlling laws I've always known it. In an order dated February 25th, 2025, Judge William Ryan of Los Angeles County Superior Court agreed that the board had violated the due process rights of my client, Dwayne Osborne, by finding good cause to rescind his date without first affording him the opportunity to testify regarding the grounds for rescission. This declaration of rights in rescission proceedings is now final and applies to all rescission hearings. It appears the board may currently be scheduling as many as 70 or 75 rescission hearings every year. We're looking forward to working with the board to remedy these violations for others whose dates have recently been rescinded and to prevent these violations going forward. I also need to comment again about the board's use of false positive drug tests to make adverse parole decisions. We've uncovered extensive records now demonstrating a cover-up by the CDCR, which has denied grievances, and showing that the board has rejected PTAs, admin reviews, and parole on the basis of false positives, despite being alerted to this specific issue many times and in various ways as far back as the middle of 2024. And so far, no one has taken steps to remedy these unlawful decisions beyond a blanket notice to affected patients that they may be impacted. The unlawful decisions remain in their records. Both this rescission hearing issue and the improper reliance on treatment records issue took shape before Mr. Wyckoff came into office, and we're looking forward to having him address these issues appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you. The other we have is in person, I believe, is Vanessa Nelson Sloan. She's always in person.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Not to pile on too much here, but I have some concerns. As Mr. Wyckoff noted last month, the grant rate for 2024 was 31%, down 4% from the previous year. Actually, the grant rate was 30.5%, so it was down 4.5%. Not that I'm parsing numbers, but I am. And as we noted previously, the only major consideration or change that seems to be the restitution issue. We're now hearing from livers who are checking through their entire trust account history. One man last participated in this restitution business 7 years ago, and it was still a hot topic of conversation at his parole hearing. So how long is recent participation? If memory serves me, incidents of mental health issues are considered recent by the FAD only if they occurred within the last 1 to 2 years. Certainly if that works for such a relatively important issue as mental health, why would the stale date for restitution be longer than 2 years? The population still needs some guidelines in this area. Most aren't familiar with the legal citations regarding restitution, and since workarounds were so widely practiced and even tacitly and explicitly encouraged by staff, they had no reason to understand immediately what this issue entailed. This still remains a thorny issue in our minds and a wobbly one for denial of parole. As we continue to research the number and depth of these denials, we're hoping for some guidelines from the board on how long is recent and to what extent this issue will continue to be majorly impactful on parole decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to make a general comment and are in person, please approach the podium. If you are on video, please raise your hand in Microsoft Teams. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. To make a general comment by telephone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to make a general comment? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for general comments.
Thank you. I'll now call roll for the commissioners participating in public comment, deliberations, and voting on the cases we have on today's agenda. Chairperson, Commissioner Purcell, I'm present. Commissioner Barton.
Present.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Present.
Commissioner Chappelle.
Present.
Commissioner Dobbs.
Present.
Commissioner Garland will be arriving shortly. I'll announce when she arrives. Commissioner Kozel.
Present.
Commissioner Muniz.
Present.
Commissioner Wadje.
Present.
Commissioner O'Meara. Commissioner Ruff.
Present.
Commissioner Sheffield. Please note for the minutes that a majority of the commissioners currently appointed are present in person. We'll now hear comments regarding cases on today's agenda. For each case, first, we will take comments from those in support of the incarcerated person, starting with speaker cards, and then those who did not submit a speaker card. Then we will take comments from those in opposition to the incarcerated person, starting with speaker cards, and then calling those who did not submit a speaker card. Comments are limited to 2 minutes. There is no opportunity for rebuttal. If you are speaking, please eliminate any background noise. The moderator will call your name or identify you by your phone number when it is your turn. Your 2 minutes will begin when you start to speak. So I'm moving on to the cases now. The first case today is Ricardo Gutierrez, T82656, item number 11. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Ricardo Gutierrez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. or if you are in person, please approach the podium.
Excuse me, moderator, for one moment. I'll announce that Commissioner Garland has arrived. Thank you. Please continue.
Thank you. Welcome, Commissioner Garland. If you are on the phone and you wish to speak in support of Ricardo Gutierrez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Ricardo Gutierrez? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Ricardo Gutierrez.
Thank you. Moderator will now take speakers in opposition to Ricardo Gutierrez.
Thank you, Chairperson. We have a speaker card for Tasha Sarouche, DDA of Orange County. I see you're with us. Go ahead, Tasha. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Thank you so much. Ricardo Gutierrez violated the rules of society while he was out, and then violated the rules of society in prison while inside. The recent notice of confidential information disclosure indicates that he either directed or personally filed a false EDD claim. One call was as recent as July 15, 2024. Again, we have an inmate who controlled the narrative with the forensic psychologist and manipulated his way into a low-risk rating. And again, we have an inmate who did the programming and parroted out what they are taught the board is looking for. And yet the Supreme Court requires rehabilitation, not programming, a very different concept. When you have a callous, murdering gang member doing simultaneous programming and rule violations, it is clear their offender change and rehabilitation is lacking. If only all the allegations of rehabilitation were investigated as well as restitution and EDD fraud. This inmate lied to the board and lied to the psychologist. This deception should not entitle an inmate to parole, even when they admit that they have lied, as this is only after they are caught. The law requires a significant period of rehabilitation, not just admitting something when they are caught. The people ask for an overturn of the grant. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Ricardo Gutierrez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. Or if you are in person, please approach the podium. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Ricardo Gutierrez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wishes to speak in opposition to Ricardo Gutierrez? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wishes to speak about Ricardo Gutierrez? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Ricardo Gutierrez.
Thank you. The next case is BINDHU Lang, F11367, item number 12. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you. We have a number of speaker cards. The first is for Parker Chamberlain. Parker Chamberlain, if you're in person, please approach the podium. Or if you are joining us by telephone, press *6 or unmute yourself on Teams. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Thank you. And thank you, as always, commissioners, for the opportunity to speak today. I'm the co-executive director of Revolution, a nonprofit that provides both in-prison and reentry programs for system-impacted individuals. I'm also a formerly incarcerated person, having paroled through this board more than 3 years ago. I'm speaking today in support of upholding the parole grant of BINDHU Lang. I've known BINDHU for nearly a decade and can personally attest to his growth as a person, character, and readiness to parole. Most recently, BINDHU participated in the Realized Restorative Justice Group of Valley State Prison, which I facilitate. During extremely vulnerable activities, BINDHU often volunteered to be the first to share, demonstrating a lot of courage and positive role modeling. I should also note here my personal willingness and that of Revolution and the Ahimsa Collective as organizations to support BINDHU upon release, including on the very first day of his parole by picking him up from prison and taking him where he needs to go. I am aware that the governor is asking the board to evaluate the February 26, 2025 grant in light of the issues that came up regarding restitution. When asked about this issue during the hearing, BINDHU was honest and accountable, characteristics that consistently describe him. BINDHU accepted responsibility for allowing individuals to send money to his trust account. He shared that when confronted about the behavior by a peer, he came to a new understanding and changed the behavior. In my opinion, this openness to feedback and willingness to do better when he knows better evidences BINDHU's commitment to a pro-social lifestyle and, more broadly, his suitability to rejoin the community. Again, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I respectfully ask you to uphold the February 2025 grant of parole. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Emma Hughes. Emma Hughes, go ahead. It is your turn to speak.
Good morning. My name is Emma Hughes. I'm a professor of criminology at Fresno State, and I coordinate our bachelor's degree program at Valley State Prison and serve as executive director for Project Rebound, our campus support program for formerly incarcerated students. And I'm speaking to express my strong support for BINDHU and have written in support as well. BINDHU is really an excellent student. He has a perfect 4.0 GPA and is approximately 1 semester away from earning his bachelor's degree. He's a model student. Apart from obvious academic talent, he is dedicated, responsible, and hardworking. He engages with his work at the highest level. Now, his academic success came as no surprise to us, given the significant achievements and recognition he earned while working in his associate degree at Valley State Prison. For example, he won a stateside Scholastic Achievement Award open to students throughout the state and not just students in prison. It is a pleasure to have BINDHU in our program, and he serves as an excellent role model and mentor to the new students who join the program each semester. If BINDHU is released, Project Rebound will assist him to finish his degree, and we will provide wraparound support services. Ideally, he would parole to Fresno so that we can provide those services in person, and he could become part of the strong community that we have created on campus, a community that is committed to the principle of each one teach one, and that prioritizes giving back to the broader community. If necessary, he can finish his degree remotely from another county. However, I do want to emphasize that BINDHU has secured a housing placement in Fresno. Research consistently shows that education is one of the most effective ways to reduce reoffending. Crucially, it encourages long-term identity transformation and of new and positive goals, along with fostering pro-social behavior. BINDHU has expressed interest in attending graduate school, and Project Rebound is ready to assist him in that endeavor for which he is extremely well qualified. Again, I express my full support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker is Mirabai Collins. Mirabai Collins, it's your turn to speak.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of BINDHU Lang. I am a relative of BINDHU Lang. I am his sister, and I am speaking in support to uphold the grant of parole. I would like to speak to the issues raised in this hearing regarding BINDHU Lang's parole suitability. BINDHU's response to the issues raised around restitution have been to confront the issues head on, to seek guidance and understanding that will help him avoid harmful behaviors, to take responsibility for his actions, to make amends, and to renew his commitment to living a life of honesty and integrity. BINDHU has undergone important and substantial personal transformation while incarcerated, and I support his release. Upon release, I'm committed to financially supporting him, to pay for his housing, and to provide him with a vehicle for transportation. And I am also his point of contact in terms of family for any sort of emotional or financial or personal needs. So my willingness to support him in other ways beyond speaking out on behalf of his release in this meeting is also practical and substantial. I would also like to flag previous statements from the public in this session regarding board protocol, restitution issues, and fairness as a final consideration in moving forward with his parole.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Nate Powell. Nate Powell, it's your turn to speak. Nate, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. If you're joining us by telephone, you can press *6 to unmute yourself. We will circle back to Nate Powell. John Coyle. John Coyle, it's your turn to speak. John Coyle, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. We'll circle back to Nate Powell and John Coyle. If you would like to speak in support of BINDHU Lang and are in person, please approach the podium. If you're on Microsoft Teams, please raise your hand using the button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of BINDHU Lang, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who is, sorry, go ahead.
I did not sign up to speak ahead of time. I did send an email. My name is Carrie Uranowitz, and the email didn't go through, and then I found the proper email and I sent it forward. I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to speak.
Go ahead. Your 2 minutes starts now.
Thank you. I am in support of BINDHU being released, and I am available to support him, whether it's housing, transportation, financial, emotional, and I have a very long list of accomplishments, and I agree with everything that has been said. We speak daily. He's very accountable. He did pay all of his restitution in full immediately on his own end. I'm wondering also if the board might consider going forward in these cases a post incarceration fine that can go toward these funds, and that is a kind of parenthesis side note. But on behalf of his character, he's a very kind and honest and a lot of integrity and a lot of hard work. And there is another email that will list the accomplishments, including the 4.0 that was mentioned, being accepted to Berkeley University, maintaining the 4.0, about to get 3 different AA degrees: sociology, psychology, behavioral social science, and his interest in going forward and paying it forward by working in restorative justice as a career. Thank you.
Thank you. John Coyle, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak. John Coyle, you're showing is unmuted, but we're not actually hearing you. You may have to leave the meeting and come back in, possibly. We will circle back to you. I'd like to give another chance to Nate Powell. Nate Powell, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Nate Powell, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
I would like to, if I could.
Go ahead.
My name is Gabriel. I would like to speak if I can. Okay, so I was also formerly incarcerated with BINDHU Lang at Valley State Prison, and knowing him, living with him, I've seen completely the change that God has done in his life and the work that he's done in his life. One of the things I know we were talking about is education, but also the sacrifice that he's made. A lot of us that were battling with sex offense, it was really hard for us to actually work on the curriculum because of the stigma in prison and the dangerousness of having that type of crime and not being able to actually do the work. But taking the time to work on this stuff, going out to the yard and getting together and working on this in spite of the dangerousness, but knowing the need of having to understand what brought you to prison and knowing how to fix those things. I really am thankful for having BINDHU because he helped me work on a lot of the material through the books of Road to Freedom. And so I really appreciate all the work that he has done. And I know that he's going to be a positive role model in society. And I think he'll be a great person when he gets out. Thank you.
Thank you. I see that John Coyle has joined us again. Go ahead and unmute yourself. John Coyle, your 2 minutes start when you begin to speak.
All right. Did that work? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can. Go ahead.
There we go. Yeah. I'm just advocating for BINDHU moving into our program. I'm the director of Centers for Living in Fresno. So upon his release, he can come directly to us. And just a brief snapshot of what we do. We have 7 homes in Fresno. We house about 100 people. And we have a highly accountable environment with drug tests every 3 days, full 15 panel parole by UA. We have 2 to 4 managers on every property. The property where BINDHU is going to be is a little bit remote in between 2 towns, and he's got all the time in the world to just work on himself. He'll have transportation and life coaching. So we were just incredibly enthused about getting behind this guy. We have rarely had a client that's had more support. So, ups our confidence that he's just going to do really well with us, financially, emotionally, socially, and everything. So he's just laminated in the yes column, so he can come whenever he's released.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak in support of BINDHU Lang? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of BINDHU Lang.
Thank you. Moderator will now take speakers in opposition to BINDHU Lang.
Thank you. There is a speaker card for Wes Keat, DDA of Humboldt County. Wes, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Good morning. We think that the inmate's recent and ongoing involvement in illegal and illicit activity demonstrates his persistence in criminal thinking and clearly shows that he is unsuitable for parole. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to BINDHU Lang and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are in person, please approach the podium. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to BINDHU Lang, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to speak in opposition to BINDHU Lang? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about BINDHU Lang? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for BINDHU Lang.
The next case is Dionisio Velasquez, P11081, item number 13. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Dionisio Velasquez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. Or if you are in person, please approach the podium. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Dionisio Velasquez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Dionisio Velasquez? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers for Dionisio Velasquez.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Dionisio Velasquez.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in opposition to Dionisio Velasquez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are in person, please approach the podium. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Dionisio Velasquez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to Dionisio Velasquez? Is there anyone who would like to speak about Dionisio Velasquez? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers for Dionisio Velasquez.
The next case is Michael Ebelo, AD6095, item number 14. Moderator, please call speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Michael Ebelo and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. Or if you are in person, please approach the podium. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Michael Ebelo, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Michael Ebelo? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Michael Abello.
Moderator will now take speakers in opposition to Michael Abello.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Michael Abello and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are in person, please approach the podium. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Michael Abello, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to Michael Abello? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak about Michael Abello? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers for Michael Abello.
The next case is Jesse Arredondo, AT1003, item number 15. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. The first speaker is Nikki Arredondo. Nikki, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone, or approach the podium if you're in person.
Thank you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Good afternoon, honorable commissioners. My name is Nikki Arredondo, and I'm here today in strong support of parole for my husband, Jesse Arredondo. I understand the governor has raised some concerns and is referring Jesse's case for your expert review. I can only hope and pray that you will see Jesse in the same light as did your colleagues. See all of the positive changes he has made in his life, all the insight he has gained in order to understand his past, present, and future, and all the knowledge and tools he has acquired in the process that allow him to be the best version of himself that he can be. Ultimately, I pray that you will affirm his grant today. From my end, I can reassure you that Jesse has had a genuine transformation, is highly motivated to maintain his success, and is equipped with the tools and resources needed to do so. My husband has truly put in the work and made the necessary changes to be a productive and contributing member of the community. He has solid parole and relapse prevention plans, which I am confident you have been able to review. I am personally aware of what these plans entail, as well as many of the various challenges that Jesse may face. That being said, I am fully committed to be there in whatever way it takes, in whatever way is needed to assist, support, and help facilitate Jesse's positive transition back into the community and his continued success in the free world. Jesse is loved beyond words and has an amazing and reliable support network, which comes not just from us, his family, but from many community-based organizations. We are all most eager to welcome him home and to assist in his positive transition back into the community. Thank you for your time today and your consideration.
Thank you. The next speaker card is for Christina Sanchez. Christina, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, honorable commissioners. My name is Christina Sanchez, and I am here today in strong support of parole for my stepfather, Jesse Arredondo. My stepfather has been a constant pillar in my life since I was a young girl, and he is now a constant pillar in my daughter's life, his first and only grandchild. He has shown us what strength, dedication, patience, and faith truly mean. He embodies a genuine changed man in every possible way. He has accepted his shortcomings, taken responsibility for his actions, and in doing so, he learned how to better himself and create a successful future. He has put in the work to change the course of his future by dedicating countless hours to self-help courses and higher education. He and we as a family understand this new chapter will not be easy, but he has forged a path of success for himself, done everything he can do to make the necessary changes to ensure a successful second chance. We pray that you would look upon him favorably and allow him to come home and live out his second chance, a second chance that he has dedicated his life to. He is ready, and our family is ready and prepared to support him in every way possible. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Jesse Arredondo and are on video, please raise your hand. I'm so sorry, we have one more speaker card. Lily Harvey. Lily Harvey, go ahead. And unmute yourself. There you go.
Thank you. Good morning, and thanks for allowing me to be here with you to present these remarks in support of Jesse Arredondo. I'm a senior staff attorney at the Prison Law Office. The governor requested that the panel consider whether Mr. Arredondo has sufficiently mitigated his risk factors for antisocial conduct and can be safely released on parole. I firmly believe, as did the suitability panel in January, that Mr. Arredondo has sufficiently demonstrated risk factor mitigation and readiness for safe release. In January, the granting panel thoroughly explored Mr. Arredondo's risk factor mitigation, particularly in regard to his past involvement with restitution avoidance and substance abuse. In finding that he'd sufficiently mitigated risk factors related to his role in restitution avoidance, the granting panel observed how his personal growth and mitigation strategies had progressed. While they were laudable when he received his initial grant in December 2023, they are truly exceptional now. The panel noted Mr. Arredondo's ongoing work to increase self-awareness, including deep self-reflection, to confront any blind spots on his rehabilitation journey and addressing codependent behaviors. The granting panel also thoroughly examined the history of substance addiction as a risk factor for antisocial conduct. They determined that Mr. Arredondo understands that working to address this disease will be paramount every day of his life. His insights into triggers, extensive recovery programming, and post-release planning demonstrated to the panel that Mr. Arredondo sufficiently mitigated substance abuse as a risk factor. The panel also understood that Mr. Arredondo took the feedback given to him when he lost his initial grant in May of 2025 to heart. In the face of this adversity, he held himself accountable for prior errors in judgment and worked tirelessly, taking even more classes, doing the work needed to ensure he has every pro-social tool available to him as he navigates his safe release back into the community. I respectfully request that today's panel uphold the January 2025 grant. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Jesse Arredondo in our own video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Jesse Arredondo, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. If you're in person, please approach the podium. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Jesse Arredondo? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Jesse Arredondo.
Monitor, we will now take speakers in opposition to Jesse Arredondo.
Thank you. We do have a speaker card for Tasha Sarush, DDA of Orange County. Go ahead, Tasha.
Thank you. Jesse Arredondo was granted parole in 2023. Governor Newsom sent him back for an in-bank, and his grant was rescinded in September of 2024. 5 months later, he was granted parole again, 5 months. Now he is back again before the board on Governor Newsom's second request. He manipulated the 2023 panel, all the while making 160 deposits into more than 30 different inmate accounts, and he manipulated the forensic psychologist. And yet, just a few months later, he was granted parole again. He had ongoing rule breaking through October of 2023. He lied under oath. He manipulated commissioners and psychologists, and now 14 months later, the board is trusting him again. Rehabilitation is required, not just programming. He does not have the significant length required under the law. When you have an inmate concurrently programming to rules violation, it indicates a deep-seated antisocial personality disorder, criminal thinking, manipulation, impression management, and does not evidence the subsequent growth and maturity required to overcome youthful offender mitigation. There must be a sustained amount of offender change. This inmate has recent relapses, recent gang behavior, all within a few years, in addition to his restitution circumvention. The governor has now sent this back twice. Even with wanting to empty the prisons, he does not want this inmate out. Again, just because an inmate admits something after he is caught, it should not erase the fact that the board was lied to under oath less than 2 years ago. At some point, lying to psychologists and the board should be taken for what it is: criminal thinking, manipulation, impression management, and a direct nexus to violent crime. The people ask this grant be overturned. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Jesse Arredondo and are in person, please approach the podium. If you're on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you would like to speak in opposition to Jesse Arredondo, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Jesse Arredondo? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak about Jesse Arredondo? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Jesse Arredondo.
The next case is Devin Blackstone, AE 6418, item number 16. Moderator, please call speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. Alfred Weissman, please go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Alfred Wiseman. I'm speaking on behalf of my client, Devon Blackstone. The governor issued a letter approximately April 18th of this year in which he stated, Mr. Blackstone has demonstrated significant pro-social change and has developed a robust support network in the community. I asked the board to determine whether he sufficiently mitigated his risk factor for antisocial conduct and whether he has the insight and tools he would need to maintain healthy relationships in the community. I would submit that the evidence of the granting panel demonstrated that, in fact, Mr. Blackstone did have the requisite aspects. First of all, in the 10-day packet, Mr. Blackstone put on record a significant and comprehensive relapse prevention plan for all the causative factors that the board had discussed with him. In those plans, he identified the triggers both internal and external to those risk factors, and most importantly, he identified extensively the coping tools that he would use to overcome those triggers should he face them in the community. Most importantly, in terms of his ability to overcome antisocial conduct, I'd like to quote from Captain McLemore, his letter of support, a laudatory chrono, in page 220 of the 10-day packet, which is made available to the board's consideration. And this is what Captain McLemore said. In the time I have known him, Blackstone has been a model incarcerated person, an important resource to the staff, and an enthusiastic participant in almost every opportunity for positive programming available at KBSP. Despite his lengthy sentence, he has served as an outstanding example of the transformative potential of the rehabilitative services provided to incarcerated persons by the department. I believe that Blackstone's commitment to bettering himself, providing outreach to at-risk youth, and to improve the lives of his fellow incarcerated people provides strong evidence.
Your 2 minutes
that he
have
will
elapsed.
thrive
Please
in
conclude
and be
your
an asset
statement.
to the community when he's released. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Devon Blackstone and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're in person, please approach the podium. If you're on the phone and you would like to speak in support of Devon Blackstone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Devon Blackstone? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Devon Blackstone.
Moderator will now take speakers in opposition to Devon Blackstone.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have Dana Greason, DDA of Riverside County. Dana, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Thank you. This inmate went on a robbery spree back in 2007 that lasted 5 months. During that time, he robbed 32 victims at gunpoint, at times putting his gun to the head of the victims. The governor was concerned about whether he had mitigated his risk for antisocial conduct. This concern is justified based on his gang membership in and out of prison. He has numerous RBRs, including distribution of a controlled substance, having almost an ounce of heroin in 2018, refusing to accept assigned housing, 2 batteries on prisoners, 6 incidents of fighting, possession of alcohol, and participating in a riot, and multiple possession of cellular telephones, the latest being 2021. The inmate admitted to using his cell phone to help move things around in prison for the gang. The inmate in his hearing told a story about his past crimes that clearly minimized his behavior and showed manipulation and criminal thinking. He told the board that the gun he used was unloaded and that he merely had obtained it for protection, that before every robbery, this entrenched gang member would unload the weapon and leave the bullets at home. He said when he was finally caught ending his robbery spree, they'd already coincidentally and independently decided to stop robbing people. While whether the gun is unloaded or not is a static factor, his lying to the board is not. In my letter, I outline how this inmate's rendition of the facts are refuted by witness statements and evidence. He was known to have almost always been carrying this gun as an armed gang member. A shot was fired at one of the scenes. The bullets he should have been found in a box in his room when they searched his place were not. He lied about it being loaded, why he had it, when he had obtained it, and where it went. These minimizations and lies in his hearing demonstrate his continued criminal thinking and manipulation. The inmate was not confronted with the actual evidence at his hearing. Even the board members who paroled him seemed to think this case would end up at the Banc hearing, referring to a governor review. Quote, trust me, it's going to be the first thing they look at. The governor's office is going to see this and everybody else. And, quote, the risk assessment is moderate. So I would say it supports a grant of parole. Others could argue it doesn't. The people argue that it doesn't, and this parole is improvident. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Devon Blackstone and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are in person, please approach the podium. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Devon Blackstone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Devon Blackstone? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Devon Blackstone? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Devon Blackstone.
The next case is Alfred Brooks, E06210, item number 17. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you. We do have a speaker card for Shirin Senegal. I believe I just saw them raise a hand. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak. Shirin, you're still showing as muted. It's the microphone button up by the right-hand corner. Just click that. If you cannot unmute yourself, you can leave the meeting and come back in, and we will circle back to you. All right, looks like they might be doing that. If you would like to speak in support of Alfred Brooks and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Alfred Brooks, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. If you're in person, please approach the podium. Is there anyone?
Yes. Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello. My name is Pastor Al Garcia, and from Redeem 2020 Ministries, I founded this ministry upon parole in 2020. I also worked for an anti-recidivism coalition for 2.5 years, where Alfred Brooks participated in my classes, 5 classes, I believe it's total. Now, one of the things about Alfred Brooks is that he has insight, responsibility, and remorse. And remorse is a fruit of amends. Now, after the first class, he took it upon himself to approach me to ask if he couldn't co-facilitate. So, and that's what he did. I agreed to it. He co-facilitated, basically pretty much taking over the classes for me on Criminal Gangs Anonymous and BPH. So Alfred Brooks, he's a great person. I don't come on here, I don't speak for too many people, but for him, like, man, I went out of my way to do it for him because he's gonna be good. So I'm really, I'm calling in, to let you know that he has support out here. My ministry that I pastor, that's what we do. We help people, that are formerly incarcerated transition back into society successfully. We have all the resources. So I'm just calling in to show my support and hoping and praying that he gets affirmed for his parole. So thank you for the time, and thank you all you commissioners. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak in support of Alfred Brooks? I'd like to give one more chance to Shirin Senegal. Shirin,
Yes.
if you're with us, go ahead. I can hear you.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much. This is Shireen Senegal. Commissioners, I want to thank you for your steadfast commitment to public safety and rehabilitation. My name is Shireen, and I'm the Executive Director of Ronnie's House, a nonprofit located in Long Beach, California, dedicated to rehabilitation. I stand before you here to reaffirm our unwavering support for Alfred Brooks. Together with our partners, LARP and Amada Institute and others, we've presented a comprehensive reintegration plan that leaves nothing to chance. I do not offer my endorsement lightly. In 2016, I lost my husband to gun violence, and I know firsthand the power of transformation and redemption. The 19-year-old Mr. Brooks is not the same Mr. Brooks that is before you today, 37 years later. He is educated, compassionate, resilient, and fiercely committed to mentorship and community investment. He has his housing in place, a clear pathway to his education with funding available to support that education, mental health support through organizations like Amada Institute, and a village around him that will support him to ensure his success. My life's mission has been to stop violence, and I believe Alfred Brooks can now be a powerful part of that solution based on his transformation and lived life experience. I urge you to review the letters, and I respectfully ask for your support to help Mr. Brooks come out to the community and make a difference. Thank you, Commissioners, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Alfred Brooks? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Alfred Brooks.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Alfred Brooks.
Thank you. We have a speaker card for Jasmine Suidam. Jasmine, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself. If you're in person, approach the podium, or if you're joining by telephone, press *6 to unmute yourself. Jasmine, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. We'll circle back to Jasmine. If you would like to speak in opposition to Alfred Brooks and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're in person, please approach the podium. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Alfred Brooks, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to Alfred Brooks? Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to speak about Alfred Brooks? I'd like to give one more chance to Jasmine Suidam. Jasmine, if you'd like to speak, go ahead. Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Alfred Brooks.
Thank you. The next case is Curtis Hall, T14053, item number 18. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you. The first speaker card I have is for Shelley Eitelson. Shelley, if you're with us, go ahead and begin. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your time and consideration today. My name is Shelley Eitelson, and I am the forensic social worker who had the pleasure of writing the Youth Offender Franklin report for Mr. Hall. I want to address the Governor's concerns regarding Mr. Hall's mental health and sobriety, both of which have been directly addressed through years of focused rehabilitation. Over the past 24 years of incarceration, Mr. Hall has participated in several rehabilitative programs, most notably OMCP, a rigorous and transformative course that certifies participants as AOD counselors. Since his hearing, he has graduated from OMCP and passed the test to become an AOD counselor. He now needs to complete 2,080 hours This achievement reflects his deep commitment to helping others on their own paths to recovery. Upon release, Mr. Hall hopes to parole to Sacramento County, where he has been accepted into the Freedom Through Education Transitional Housing Program. Residents of Freedom Through Education are required to attend 2 in-house support groups and 1 individual therapy session each week, all facilitated by licensed clinicians. Mr. Hall will also be paired with a peer mentor. The director of Freedom Through Education has also corresponded with Mr. Hall and hires formerly incarcerated AOD counselors. In addition, Mr. Hall will be working with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, and there is a person from ARC who will speak to what they do. Mr. Hall's family also lives within 1 hour from Sacramento. Mr. Hall has developed detailed relapse prevention plans and has a sponsor in the community and a fiance in recovery. Everything I have mentioned serve as protective factors which mitigate his risk and are consistent with public safety.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
In conclusion, for all these reasons, I believe Mr. Hall does not pose an unreasonable safety risk and believe affirming the Commissioner's finding of suitability from December 2024 is appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Willie Woods. Willie, it's your turn to speak. Go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone or approach the podium if in person.
Hello. First of all, I would like to extend my appreciation to Commissioner Chappelle, who in 2020 found me suitable for parole at CSB Solano. My name is Willie Woods. I am the life coach at ARC, the Heart Team, and I'm also Mr. Hall's life coach. Upon Mr. Hall's release, we can continue the supply support for Mr. Hall, so far as we have our own in-house therapist, housing. We have just now developed new housing here in Sacramento, and that housing would be upon the approval of the Board of Prison Terms. I've known Mr. Hall for several decades. I've had the pleasure to witness Mr. Hall's transformation from the person that he was to the person that he is now, and that those are 2 different people. As I said, I spent a couple of decades incarcerated with Mr. Hall, and Mr. Hall has grown tremendously in his insight to why he committed his crime and what would prevent him from committing any other crimes of any nature against anybody. As I said, here at ARC, we will provide him with every aspect and resource that he would need to go back to prison. In short, what I'm saying is that there would be no reason, with ARC's support, no reason for Mr. Hall to return to prison at all. And I am truly in support of Mr. Hall's grant of suitability. And I will continue to be Mr. Hall's life coach once he is released, and
Your 2 minutes has elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
And I just want to say thank you to the Board of Prison Terms, and thank you to Commissioner Chappelle. Your decision was a great one.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is Angel Ordaz. Angel, please go ahead and unmute yourself or approach the podium or press *6. I see you're with us. Go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Angel Ordaz. I'm a social worker with lived experience in the criminal justice system. What I do is I mentor adults and youth. I was formerly with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I've been sober from alcohol for about 7 years, and I currently sponsor Mr. Hall with AA through the Getting Out app, and spoke with him over the phone, and I've been sponsoring him for about 10 months now. When Mr. Hall returns home from being incarcerated, I'll continue to sponsor and mentor him and provide any resources and services in the Sacramento area, as that's where I do live in Sacramento County, or moving to. I ask that you review the letter of support that I submitted for Mr. Hall, and I strongly respectfully request that you grant Curtis Hall parole, and I'll continue to guide and work with him. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card is for Lindella Wilson. Lindella, go ahead. It's your turn to speak. I see you're with us. Go ahead.
Good morning or good afternoon. Thank you for your time. My name is Lindella Wilson. I'm a clinical social worker and Curtis Hall fiance. I've had the pleasure of knowing Curtis for 5 years. I firmly believe that he has demonstrated significant personal growth, remorse, and has potential for rehabilitation. Through ongoing communication, I've seen Curtis take responsibility for his actions and work diligently towards self-improvement through programs offered at CDCR like OMCP to become an AOD counselor. He has several opportunities in the community to complete the 2,080 hours needed and become gainfully employed. During our relationship, I've observed him utilize coping skills and new conflict resolution strategies. I would like to address the governor's concern regarding Curtis' mental health and sobriety, which are both important to us and our families. I understand the seriousness of the offense committed and the need for accountability and consequences. However, I believe affirming parole would allow him to continue his journey of personal growth and contribute to society. The support system in place, combined with his commitment to rehabilitation, mitigates any risks. Curtis plans to continue individual therapy, and we plan to participate in couples counseling. I've been in recovery over 20 years and have zero tolerance towards any substance use. I kindly request that the board take into consideration his relapse prevention plans and the services he will participate in to address his mental health and sobriety in the community. With this, I respectfully ask the commissioner's previous findings for parole suitability be affirmed. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Curtis Hall and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're in person, please approach the podium. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Curtis Hall, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Curtis Hall? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Curtis Hall.
Thank you. Moderator will now take speakers in opposition to Curtis Hall.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have a speaker card for Frank Carles. Frank, go ahead. It's your turn to speak. You can unmute or press *6 by telephone or approach the podium.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Frank Quarles. I am the child of Desiree Hall, brother to Dejiana Hall. For now, retired staff sergeant from the Army, deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, and served my country as well as I could. And now I'm serving as a DOD, Department of Defense instructor here in Fort Huachuca, Arizona. I know I have a specific amount of time. However, this is kind of difficult for me. First of all, I did not receive a notice that this would occur, but however, my lovely sister did let me know that this hearing would occur on this day. I'm sitting here talking with my children, my daughter, who is named after her mother, and she's asking me who her grandmother is. And I have to give her a vague answer because my answer of who my mother was stolen from me, and my sister, and my oldest sister, and my brother, who are now disconnected, distant, and still searching for an identity that was stolen from us that could have been given from our parent. I do not. I've been in many chaotic, disheartening situations through deployments, through competition, through raising my own kids, through family matters. And there's nothing that can help me understand why release of someone with such actions would be granted. I appreciate you all listening, giving me your time, and I am here to oppose the parole grant. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Curtis Hall and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Curtis Hall, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Or if you're in person, please approach the podium. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Curtis Hall? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak about Curtis Hall? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Curtis Hall.
The next case is Darren Lee, C16213, item number 19. Moderator, please call for speakers and support.
Thank you. First speaker card I have is for Don Evans. Don Evans, it's your turn to speak. I see that you're with us. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Don Evans, and I'm here in support of Mr. Darren Lee's parole. I first met Darren in 2005 when I too was incarcerated at Solano State Prison, and then reconnected with him when transferring to San Quentin in 2019. Until my parole in January of 2023, Darren and I spent a great deal of time together. A significant part of our time was spent in self-improvement 12-step recovery programs. So I know firsthand of Darren's commitment to his sobriety, recovery, and continued self-improvement. I know Darren to be a man of discipline, integrity, commitment to family, community, and his core values. I believe Darren will be an asset to any community he resides in. One of the most valuable resources for me when I paroled was, and in fact still is, my formerly incarcerated friends who have successfully reestablished themselves. The support they have given me has been as valuable as any other resource I utilized. In addition to the financial and material support they have given me, they've been able to help me easily navigate many of the challenges that they faced on their release. And their emotional support, well, that's been invaluable. So I will be the same support for Darren as his friend and accountability partner. I'm also able to offer Darren a job with the company that I work for, and any other additional resources Darren may need to help in his transition back into the community, I'm also able to offer him. I want to thank the commissioners for letting me speak in support of Darren Lee, and I simply ask that you affirm the previous board's decision in upholding Darren's parole. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card is for Eliezer Margolis. Eliezer, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press, we have a podium. Perfect.
Thank you. Good day. My name is Dr. Eliezer Margolis. I'm a board-certified rehabilitation psychologist, and I'm here to publicly attest to my sense that Mr. Darren Lee is altogether suitable for safe parole release to the community. I met Darren and began working with him while I was a volunteer faculty member at Mount Tamalpais College and worked with him on his writing. I've been privileged to work with many, great many people over the years who were using rehabilitation in various modes. And it was against that background that I was greatly impressed by Darren and the profundity of the personal transformation that he had gone through. This is a person who, having been incarcerated at the age of 16, has spent his entire course of adult development in prison. And as such, he has managed to grow himself from the confused, wayward adolescent he was through several eras of adult development into the thoughtful and compassionate human being we see today, who is now in his actual older adulthood. In my experience, this is a rare achievement of persistent and autonomous dedication to self-healing and radical personal change. He essentially was forced to raise himself and used his 46 years in incarceration to do so. The second most remarkable thing for me was that he needs to keep at the center of his being
yeah, that's good. You guys got a good setup because
I apologize. Keep going. We're trying to mute them. I'm sorry. I think the boardroom has been muted, Chairperson. We didn't hear the last 7 or 8 seconds of that.
I'm sorry.
Okay, let's try again. We're stopping your time. Go ahead and try speaking again. Let's see if we can hear you.
Okay, so I was saying the second most remarkable thing is the way that he wants to keep fresh in his memory every day his shameful acts as an adolescent in order to use that as a goad to an extended lifetime of contrition. In keeping with California's enlightened adoption of rehabilitation-oriented incarceration and parole, I urge you to recognize Mr. Lee's remarkable rehabilitative achievement and uphold his grant of parole release. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker we have in person is William Woodward. Go ahead and approach the podium.
Good afternoon. My name is William Woodward, and I testify here in support of the parole of Darren Lee. He and I met in classes at Mount Tamalpais College at San Quentin, where I've worked as a writing tutor since 2016. That followed my retirement as a full-time law professor, and before that, a trial lawyer. In my time at San Quentin, I have tutored probably scores of students, and of course, as a professor, thousands. As you can imagine, working one-on-one with a student on his writing brings you in very close contact with how he thinks, what his concerns are, and what processes are going on in his mind. It really gives you a window into his mind. What I initially found was one of the most gifted writers I've encountered in my entire career. This is a person who writes with insight and sensitivity and wonderful use of language, and it's entirely self-taught. As we worked together, and we worked together for a couple of years, his character and the depth of his character emerged in our conversations. His demeanor is almost serene. He's calm and soft-spoken. The crime he committed over 40 years ago when he was 16 years old remains very close to the surface, and it is a daily inspiration to him to make amends. He acts on that inspiration by participating in practically every remedial program there is, and most directly, most recently, as a Yellow Jacket. Yellow Jackets help elderly inmates get around. He pushes their wheelchairs to the doctor, gets them to the chow hall, et cetera, et cetera.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
This is a very introspective, first quality human being who deserves parole. Thank you.
Thank you. The next in-person we have is Misty Flores. Go ahead and approach the podium. She's showing up as in person on my end.
No one is approaching the podium.
Thank you. Misty Flores, if you're with us on Teams, go ahead and unmute yourself or *6 by telephone.
Moderator, hold just a moment. We're checking, it looks like.
No problem, Chairperson. We
Do
can
we have
circle
any other
back to.
information, Ms. Deitch? Oh, she will not be speaking, we're informed.
Understood. Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Darren Lee and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you wish to speak in support of Darren Lee, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to speak in support of Darren Lee? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Darren Lee.
Thank you. Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Darren Lee.
Thank you, Chairperson. We have a number of speaker cards. The first is Marge Groh-Eppard. Marge, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Or if you're in person, go ahead.
Thank you. Machukshas Kuchiaima. My name is Marge Groh-Eppard. I just greeted you in my Miwok language, which Miwok you are residing on right now, territory. My Indian name is Sister Who Walks with Bears. Philip was my brother. Kathy, my sister-in-law. May 7th at the state capitol. Thousands were there at the candlelight vigil. We held posters of Philip and Kathy. I actually spoke. Assemblyman James Ramos was there in support. Guess who wasn't? Governor Newsom. And we know why, because he's releasing all of these murderers and rapists into our midst, right back. Now, Modesto, where this occurred, is also Miwok and Yolkut territory. We do not want them on our land, ever. The brutal rape that not just one of them did, they all took turns on Kathy, and then they mutilated her body even while she was dead. Mutilated her with an axe that they found. And you want to release this. I don't care if they have kumbaya circles and come to Jesus and they go to school. My nephew Mark was 10 years old when his parents were ripped from him. No restitution, not $1 has been given him, but his trust fund, Franklin and Downs, he paid for both his parents' funerals at 10 years old. But these others can go to school. Mark can't. Mentally, he cannot. He's broken. We're broken. My sister Sandy can't be here, and Mark can't be here today because of this.
Thank you. The next speaker card we have is for Sandy Renzo Howell. Sandy, if you're here, approach the podium. Unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
No one is approaching the podium, moderator.
Thank you. Sandy, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. We'll circle back to Sandy. Mark Renzo, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone or approach the podium.
No one is approaching the podium.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mark, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. We'll circle back to Mark. I have the DDA of Stanislaus County, either Victoria Vasquez or Amy Newman.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is Victoria Vasquez.
Go ahead, Victoria.
Thank you. Darren Lee's parole decision must be reversed because he continues to struggle with drug addiction and engages in criminal thinking. Lee committed the heinous murders of Philip and Catherine Ranzo while under the influence of drugs and alcohol. He continued to take drugs in prison. After years of denying his addiction, claiming he didn't need 12-step programs, and admitting that he took drugs illegally in prison, Lee now claims he's committed to sobriety. This alleged sobriety is new, untested, and will not withstand the stress of his release from prison. For 7 parole board hearings, Lee told the board he was not an addict and did not need AA. In 2020, he called AA a bunch of hypocrites. In 2022, he began to do AA, but was dropped from the program for failure to attend. At his 2023 hearing, Lee finally admitted he was an addict and was trying AA, but admitted he obtained drugs while participating in a recovery program. In 2025, he told the board he was finally committed to AA. Years of denial and inconsistent programming, and suddenly he is committed to doing the 12 steps. This credulous story of rehabilitation may have fooled the commissioners at his hearing, but his record of addiction and consistent failure to program is clear. Lee's addiction issues also reveal his continued criminal thinking. Lee told commissioners in January he obtained only 1 Suboxone without a prescription from a friend who just gave it to him. This admitted illegal act came at the end of a gap of almost 2 years, where Lee did not have a pain management prescription. Despite expressing consistent sciatic pain at a level 11 out of 10, Lee was adamant that he only took 1 pill. Lee's story lacks credibility and clearly shows his criminal thinking. How similar is "I only took 1 pill" to his continued story that "I left
Your
the
2
Ranzo
minutes
home
have elapsed.
before
Please
anyone was
conclude your
killed"?
statement.
Because Lee still struggles with addiction and criminal thinking, he presents a risk to the public, and his parole grant must be reversed. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a Narinder Pahia on behalf of Senator Alvarado Gil. Narinder, if you're with us, please go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone or approach the podium. If you're speaking, we cannot hear you. Oh, go ahead.
Hello, I am calling in to report on behalf of Senator Alvarado Gil. I am going to read a letter for you to the Board of Parole on her behalf. I write to you with deep concern regarding the pending decision to parole Darren Lawrence Lee, who was convicted for 1979 murders of Philip and Catherine Ranzo in Modesto. As you know, these were not crimes of impulse, but calculated and brutal acts of violence that left a 10-year-old child without his parents and permanently scarred a community. After reviewing the facts and listening to voices of grieving family members and law enforcement, I'm compelled to express my strong opposition to the decision to release Mr. Lee back into society. If the Board of Parole hearings grants parole, it would represent a failure to deliver justice to these victims. The Ranzo family has carried the trauma of this tragedy for over 4 decades and have consistently and courageously attended every parole hearing, hoping their voices would be heard and the magnitude of their loss would be recognized. Unfortunately, in this case, their advocacy was not met with justice, but with silence. The choice to stay silent sends a troubling message to crime victims and their families that even the most heinous cases, closure is conditional and justice can expire. This is unacceptable. Community trust in our public safety institutions depends on a system that protects families like the Ranzos and holds the worst offenders fully accountable. I respectfully urge your administration to reconsider the broader implications of this case and how decisions like this affect victims, survivors, and public confidence in our criminal justice system. I stand firmly with the Ranzo family and Stanislaus County community. I will continue to advocate for parole policies that put victims and their families first to seek justice, accountability, and safety for all Californians. Signed on behalf of Senator Maria Alvarado Gil.
Thank you. The next speaker I have is Maureen Ranzo. Maureen, if you're with us in person, go ahead and approach the podium. If you're joining us by Teams or on telephone, go ahead and press *6.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm speaking on behalf of Maureen Ranzo. To the California Board of Parole Hearings, my name is Maureen Elizabeth Ranzo. I am here not just as a voice for the Ranzo family, but as a witness to a lifetime of pain, a lifetime of pain your system has helped perpetrate. In 1979, 4 men stole 2 lives, Philip and Catherine Ranzo, and orphaned their son, Mark. That single act of violence shattered the world, and the trauma. Why am I on there? Sorry. Went away. When I met Mark in 1990, he was already broken by grief, surviving with scars no child should bear. He fought through years of darkness, worked hard to rebuild, and eventually he did. He was finally able to be a father to his children. We were finally able to build a family-friendly relationship, and despite everything, he found strength. But your board took that from him. In September 2023, when you released Jeffrey Maria, that strength was ripped away. The sense of safety, of justice, gone. Years progressed, undone in a moment. And now you prepare to do it again. Your choice is not just procedural, it is consequences. You are simply reviewing files. You are destroying real lives. Mark is no longer the same. His mental health has declined. He is carrying a pain that no one could fix, because the system meant to protect contributes to betray him. If we lose Mark, it will be because
Your 2 minutes
of what
have
happened
elapsed. Please
in
conclude your
1979.
sentence.
It will be because of what's happening now. They told me to finish my sentence. Do I keep talking? Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to give one more chance to Sandy Ranzo Howell. Sandy, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone. Sandy, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. I'd like to give a chance to Mark Ranzo. Mark, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Mark, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Darren Lee and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you would like to speak in opposition to Darren Lee, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Darren Lee? We have a hand up. Danielle Ranzo, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Hi, my name is Danny Ranzo. As you can tell, most of you know my last name. This just doesn't affect my dad, and I feel like nobody understands that. It affects generations to come. Not only is my dad trying to protect his girls, but we fight every day for my dad. We have to protect ourselves because we don't know if this guy will reoffend. And I still stand by, until my dad can walk with his parents again, then these men should not be able to walk free. I will stand by that. I will continue to fight and advocate for my family. This just is not fair. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Darren Lee? If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Darren Lee, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. I'm sorry, go ahead. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak about Darren Lee? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Darren Lee.
The next case is Ricardo Machuca F66607, item number 20. Moderator, please call for speakers and support.
The first speaker is Juan Marquez. Juan, if you're with us, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. Juan Marquez, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. We will circle back on Juan Marquez. Our next speaker is Ricardo Marquez Wong. Ricardo, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Ricardo Marquez Wong, and I'm the father of Ricardo Machuca. I'm here, to fully support my son with anything he might need, to come back, to society. My wife, my sons, and the rest of the family, we want to give him full support, morally, emotionally, and financially, to have him, back to us. If you can notice, I'm not as a good speaker, as anybody else, but I saying, these little words, from the bottom of my heart that I really want and need my kid back. Thank you. So, okay.
Our next speaker is Carlos Gonzalez.
Yes, board members, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. As you know, one of the biggest challenges of getting back into society is work. And I'm here to say that I would allow him the opportunity to come work for the company that I work for in construction and be able to provide him that opportunity, which I think greatly helps the situation of being able to acclimate back into the community. Thank you.
We're circling back. Juan Marquez. Juan, if you're with us, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. Juan Marquez, are you there? If you would like to speak in support of Ricardo Machuca and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Ricardo Machuca, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken and wants to speak in support of Ricardo Machuca? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Ricardo Machuca.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Ricardo Machuca.
The first speaker is Dana Greisen. Dana, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Thank you. This inmate back in 2007 stabbed his victim over 30 times because he believed he was a snitch. He had planned to murder numerous others he believed were informants. Prior to this, his gang membership involved him in numerous crimes, including statutory rape of a young woman he abused, domestic violence, selling drugs, shootings, armed robberies, and pistol whippings by his own admission. He has attacked multiple other individuals violently, breaking the leg of one man while beating him and knocking a 15-year-old to the ground and pounding his head to the ground repeatedly. Even after he entered prison, he and another inmate attacked another inmate in a planned assault. His DV history, gang history, and RVRs are too numerous to go over in this 2 minutes, but are outlined in my letter. Significantly, the inmate in many of these attacks always had the victim at fault for disrespecting him or having done some other bad act that led him to his violent acts. There's concern as to the inside of this inmate as to his responsibility for his crimes. He minimizes and changes the facts, specifically of his 2-on-1 inmate assault to the board in his hearing, despite that version being in conflict with the report of the eyewitness jail deputy who saw the whole attack. The inmate has definitely begun programming, but most of it is recent. The inmate still admits, quote, that he is likely to be triggered by feelings of betrayal, rejection, powerlessness, or being challenged by others. He added that he experiences increased anger when others use derogatory words to put him down, bully him, or intimidate him with their expressions. Again, the actions of others are his triggers, not his own responsibility. His explanations for much of his violence, putting blame on others, is consistent with this. As to his parole plans, this inmate is going to be deported. The governor asked specifically whether his proposed parole plans and community support is sufficient. His plan is to do 30 days in a Mexican transitional house, as that is the max Mexico has per the inmate. Then he's going to live with his parents, and with all due respect, the inmate described as a cause of many of his issues. When an inmate is deported, he is now basically off parole and unsupervised. This plan does not seem to have been
Your 2 minutes have
explored.
elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Explored in any real detail. Unlike some inmates who are in for one specific act, this inmate has been involved in dozens of violent acts over his history. The scrutiny to this unsupervised release is warranted. Thank you.
If you'd like to speak in opposition to Ricardo Machuca and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Ricardo Machuca, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Ricardo Machuca? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Ricardo Machuca? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Ricardo Machuca.
The next case is Hector Molina, AU 2876, item number 21. Moderator, please call speakers in support.
If you'd like to speak in support of Hector Molina and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Hector Molina, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Hector Molina? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Hector Molina.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Hector Molina.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Hector Molina and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Hector Molina, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Hector Molina? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Hector Molina? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Hector Molina.
The next case is Stephen Rodriguez, T44416, item number 22. Moderator, please call speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Stephen Rodriguez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of Hector Molina, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Stephen Rodriguez? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Stephen Rodriguez.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Stephen Rodriguez.
Our first speaker is Julianne Walker. Julianne, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. You're muted.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Sorry. Good afternoon. The people recognize that the parole hearing of a deaf person such as Mr. Rodriguez is very difficult to conduct. However, this hearing seemed to be too much involvement from the attorney and not much of a record of what the inmate himself was saying and attempting to say. I noted a difference between a hearing where it got postponed and this current hearing, and where it got postponed, they said, well, we need to have the interpreters in the room here with us now. And that's one of the reasons why it got postponed. But in this hearing, they weren't there in the room. All of the interpreters were by video, and that seemed to be a problem. And instead of hearing from the inmate himself, we kept hearing from the defense attorney. And I think that's one basis which really this could have been sent as a procedural error. Also, a big issue was the contradiction between whether or not the inmate actually admitted to the CRA clinician that he masturbated over fantasies of a child back in May of 2024. And again, this is a problem because of the interpretation issues as well as the attorney's involvement. And it would appear the CRA was conducted in the same manner with the appropriate guidelines for interpreters with the inmate. The discussion with the CRA clinician was very detailed, and it seems extremely unlikely that the CRA commission got this incorrect. And instead, the panel seemed to rely on what the inmate said and the attorney said. Lastly, there was minimization of the crimes, a huge concern for the panel, the denial panel, yet nothing, not one thing was asked about the crimes of this inmate. And how can that be? How do we know if he has sufficient insight, coping skills, and whatever, if we haven't discussed with him what he did? So based on that,
Your
the
2
people
minutes
would
have
ask
elapsed.
that
Please
this be
conclude your statement.
Thank you. Based on that, the people would ask that this be set for a rescission hearing or just the grant reversed today. Thank you.
If you'd like to speak in opposition to Stephen Rodriguez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Stephen Rodriguez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken and wants to speak in opposition to Stephen Rodriguez? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Stephen Rodriguez? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Stephen Rodriguez.
The last case today is Stephen Wilson, AP 8624, item number 23. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
We have a number of speaker cards. Our first speaker is Marvin McKinnon. Marvin, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. Marvin, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. You might be muted.
How about now?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak in support of Stephen Wilson. I'm happy to see that Steve has been found suitable for parole. I'm looking forward to seeing him get back into society and get on with his life. As I stated in my support letter, Steve and I have been friends and business associates for over 30 years. To help him in his journey, I'm willing to give him moral support and help him on his self-improvement. I'm also willing to help him with housing after his transitional housing stay has been completed, should he need it. I'm sure you've got the details of my home in my support letter. I've visited Steve multiple times in multiple institutions. We talk by phone frequently. I've been very impressed by the change I've seen in him over the years. He seems to be much more calm and more mellow than his old self, and is positive and upbeat in his attitude. I believe he definitely has the ability and the drive to succeed in his return to society, and has a great support system, including myself, to help him as he needs it. And I thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Valerie Mendez. Valerie, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. Valerie, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. Looks like you're muted still. We can see you, but we can't hear you, Valerie. Why don't you try leaving the meeting and rejoining? We'll move on and I'll call on you after you rejoin. Our next speaker is Joyce Wilson.
Hi, I'm Joyce. I'm Steve's ex-wife and mother to his 2 daughters. We have a pretty good, healthy relationship and communication I believe, regarding our daughters and now our granddaughter, and we do enjoy talking about them. We are also business partners, and we do have an ideal communication about business as well. And I do trust him financially more than I trust anyone else. Support-wise, as I said in my letter previously, I do have a ranch with cows and llamas, donkeys, horses, a huge goat, dogs, and cats. And he's welcome to come visit the animals and just get away from society because, well, we are out in the boonies. In fact, one of Steve's favorite pastimes used to be riding his dirt bike and his quads, and there's plenty of area around here for him to do that. There's no booze or drugs on this ranch, just good, healthy homesteading. I raise my own beef and dairy and attempting to grow vegetables. We love life out here. It's a very positive place and a good place for a good outlook on life. So I hope that's enough. I thank you very much for allowing me to speak on his behalf. And I'm done.
Circle back. Thank you. We'll circle back to Valerie Mendez.
I think I'm on. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. My name is Valerie Mendez, and I'm here to confirm my support for Stephen Wilson and his suitability for parole. I submitted a letter to the parole board last year in June, and I expressed my willingness and ability in supporting Steve's transition back into society. I'm here today just to confirm my commitment to Steve and this process. I'm fully committed to Steve and this process. I appreciate this opportunity to speak on his behalf, and I thank you for your consideration. And that's it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Joseph Magazzini. 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. Joseph Magazzini, are you with us? Joseph,
can you hear me?
Speaking, we cannot hear you. Yes, we can. Now we can hear you.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Joseph Magazzini. I had the privilege of representing Mr. Wilson at his parole suitability hearing. The governor asked the board one question today to determine whether Mr. Wilson has sufficient insight into intimate partner violence dynamics and the skills he will need to manage them in the community. And I understand that this concern arises somewhat from the comprehensive risk assessment. But I do want to point out that at the hearing, Mr. Wilson was asked very pointed questions by Commissioner Sharif on this topic. And Mr. Wilson was able to discuss in detail the role that narcissism, the cycle of domestic violence, misogyny, and substance abuse played in his offenses. And he was able to identify very specific strategies for how he has mitigated these or how he manages these issues today. And the panel specifically felt that he had sufficient understanding of these things to address the concern brought up in the risk assessment. Commissioner Sharif specifically pointed out that Mr. Wilson was very fluid in his discussion of this, that it didn't seem rehearsed, that he wasn't reading anything, that he wasn't, struggling for answers, that these are things he's clearly internalized. I do want to point out that another concern brought up in the risk assessment was parole plans and the use of support. And this was clearly mitigated at the time of the hearing. Mr. Wilson submitted relapse prevention plans to address all of his issues, very substantial parole plans, and he specifically identified a self-help network and how he intended to use it. As Commissioner Sharif pointed out in the decision, he has strong support, including a sponsor, and also has the wherewithal to note that he's going to need help in the areas of mental health to make sure that he continues positive and pro-social behavior. He's made the necessary arrangements.
Please conclude your statement.
Counseling. So all the risk factors and risk management recommendation factors have been addressed. this is no longer a concern. I ask the panel to affirm the finding of suitability for parole. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Stephen Burton. Stephen Burton, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. Stephen Burton, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
I'm here. I was trying to turn on the camera, but it doesn't seem like it's working. But can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to provide my strong support for Stephen Wilson. As you consider his stability and parole and return into society, I additionally am committed to actively supporting him through this process and will be available to assist him as needed. I've known Stephen for over 30 years. Throughout our long friendship and professional relationship, Stephen has always had a sincere desire to lead a meaningful, responsible life. I know that he made some bad decisions and ultimately committed horrible crimes. I have had the opportunity to visit him and maintain frequent communication, speaking by phone several times a month. These interactions have further reinforced my belief that he sincerely examined his past, worked hard to address the issues that led to his criminal behavior, and is ready to be able to positively contribute to society upon his release. I firmly believe that Stephen possesses the character and determination necessary necessary for a successful return into society. His commitment to self-improvement, coupled with the support he will receive from his friends and family, in addition to his positive attitude toward others, positions him well for becoming a productive, responsible citizen. To further support his successful reintegration into society, I am offering Stephen a job opportunity as an executive real estate broker assistant. This position does not require a real estate license, providing Stephen with an immediate employment path and stable environment upon release. That's all I have.
If you would like to speak in support of Stephen Wilson and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it's your turn to speak. We have a hand raised for Elise Alonso. Elise, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. Elise, you're muted and we cannot hear you if you're speaking.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good afternoon. My name is Alice Alonso. I am the victim of Mr. Wilson. I would like to reiterate my support of suitability of parole for Mr. Wilson. I submitted a victim impact statement prior to Mr. Wilson's parole hearing in January, which I also attended by video. My family and I remain in favor of Mr. Wilson being granted parole. There is no excuse for what he did to me. It was horrific, and it took many years for me to heal and address the trauma he caused me. But my family and I have appreciated the commitment he has put forward to his rehabilitation and acknowledging the harm that he has caused us. He has shown me sincere remorse and the disgust he feels for what he did to me, which has helped me address my own trauma. I truly feel and believe that he has made the changes necessary to be a better person. I would like to see him receive a second chance and enjoy the rest of his life with his family and be a productive person I know he can be. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Thank you for your time, commissioners.
You are muted, moderator.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Do we have a speaker? And are you speaking in support of Stephen Wilson?
Yes, I am. This is Victor Gonzalez, Steve's sponsor. So I know that I
Okay,
only have
2 minutes begin.
Okay, thank you. I only have 2 minutes, and I just want to say that I'm in full support of Steve. I'm his current sponsor and will assist him upon his reentry into society. I'm also a former life-term inmate that has successfully reintegrated back into society. I'm working as a recovery specialist with Turning Point Foundation and want to help in any way that I can to keep Steve on a direct path to reintegrating and navigating all the pitfalls that are out here. I work with many formerly incarcerated men and women that have struggled for many years in their addiction and their way of thinking and their way of behaving. And I've had an opportunity to navigate that. And working with Stephen over the years while incarcerated with him has allowed me great insight into who he is as a person. And I feel that he has worked long and hard and has earned his right to be granted his release. So if he is granted release, I will dedicate my time and all my efforts into continuing our 12-step meetings, continuing our progress as human beings, working to regain the trust of society and continue building ourselves as people. Working on issues like complacency, working on emotional regulation and how this looks on a day-to-day basis. I feel that I can offer great support and introduce them into the communities that I have found myself that have kept me on a path of recovery, of giving back to the society that I've taken from. And I hope that the board is able to see that he is ready and has much support behind him and will be an asset to the community. Thank you.
If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Stephen Wilson, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Stephen Wilson? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Stephen Wilson.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Stephen Wilson.
First speaker is Julianne Walker.
Thank you. Good afternoon again. The governor's concern with insight is extremely appropriate here. The question isn't whether the victim of this horrific crime forgives him and somehow benefited from the continued contact with her during prison, or whether his ex-wife forgives him and is willing to have him at her ranch out in the boonies where it's all happy. The fact is that Mr. Wilson didn't bring up and doesn't have the insight into his own behavior. Same as with the clinician, Mr. Wilson did not bring up his behavior with the victim, Ms. Alonzo, and he didn't do it in the hearing, not until he was specifically asked about it. So despite the commissioner's questions, the commissioner asked only about relationships, and the defendant said, no, I don't have any right now. And it took the deputy commissioner to say, well, what about Ms. Alonzo? What about the sexual activity with her in the room? Oh, well, yeah, now that you mention that, that's regrettable. That's a problem. Yes, it is a problem. So why isn't he bringing it up himself? Why isn't there sufficient discussion about that with his narcissism? Why isn't he himself apologizing for that? Which he didn't do. In his brief statement, closing statement at the end, he did not apologize for further victimizing Ms. Alonzo during his time in custody when he had sexual relations with her, an activity that was part of an RVR. So while that may have helped Ms. Alonzo in the form of restorative justice, it did not help him, and it proves his lack of insight. So I agree with the governor and ask that this matter grant be rescinded and that he receive further treatment in the area of his narcissism and criminal thinking. Thank you.
If you'd like to speak in opposition to Stephen Wilson and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Stephen Wilson, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Stephen Wilson? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Stephen Wilson? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Stephen Wilson.
We will now take comments from anyone who has not yet spoken and wants to comment on a case on today's agenda.
Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of or opposition to any case on today's agenda? If you are on video, please raise your hand, pressing the raise hand button. If participating by telephone, please unmute yourself and identify yourself. Chairperson, there are no more speakers for today's cases.
On behalf of my colleagues, I wish to thank everyone who participated today. We will recess the open session of the May Executive Board meeting at this time. We will reconvene in open session tomorrow at 9 a.m. This meeting is now in recess. Thank you, everyone.